come from a patrilineal society with strong masculine ethos. Society has already decided what it means to be a male or a female, and what males are supposed to do and what females are supposed to do, and so on. I grew up in that society, internalizing all these cultural values, beliefs. But as a child growing up, particularly in the case of my mother, I thought it was, some things were quite unfair. Like, my mother would go to the garden, harvest all these crops, and then carry about 3 string bags, bilums. It was quite a load for her. So at some point I decided that maybe I should help my mother. And although it's against, our social beliefs and values, I just had this personal inclination that I should help my mother and carry at least 1 bilum from the garden. And my mother knew that this was against our cultural values and beliefs. So the way around that was that she told me, you can carry the bilum as far as the edge of the village. Then I'll get the bilum back from you, and you can just get a piece of firewood or something and go to the house. And she would carry all these 2 or 3 full bilums to the house. But, my mother and I came up with this way around the cultural constraints. And it was just my personal choice, my own personal inclination to, in some ways, rebel against our social cultural values and expectations. I feel happy that I did something good for my mom. Yeah. That way people would talk about village men and women, would talk about, what's this male child, this boy doing? Why is he doing a woman's job? And like all the gossip and all kinds of things that would, people would say, which in many ways was meant to sanction such behavior. And I think that was why my mother said, okay, you can only carry this bilum as far as the edge of the village, and then she would get the bilum from me and go to the house. Yeah, I think she would have been criticized more than me. I think a lot more about my mother, criticizing her for going against our cultural beliefs and values, and allowing me to do what a boy is not supposed to be doing. I do things differently from most adult males from my society. For example, my brothers hardly ever cook, but I do. I cook. I do what in our society is defined as feminine or female task. Maybe it was just my personal choices in a very early period of my life that is in a lot of ways influence what I am and what I do as an adult. I remember this, as I mentioned yesterday, my maternal uncles, my mother's brothers and cousins, were always critical of what I was doing, like especially when it came to cooking. Like I would go back from school and cook before my mom came back from the garden, from wherever she was. And my maternal uncles would tell me not to do it. And even when I was older, I was on holidays from university, I would still be doing this. And one of my maternal uncles was very, very critical of my behavior, would tell me that when you get married, you are going to make your wife very, very lazy. But no, I don't think I have made my wife lazy at all. Not initially. I mean, as Dr. Dikimrina kind of just pushed me into teaching the gender course, but I mean, I was reluctant, but then I started to really like it, and I think now it's one of the one of two courses that I really like teaching. It was something new, and I was kind of fearful of going into the unknown. But through trial and error, I began to like the course, and students also were very interested. And the interest of students taking the course made me feel like, oh, I just have to go on and, find new reading materials, maybe some new topics, and keep up the students' interest.